Joe Biden is boring. I mean, he promised it, but man, the guy has delivered. This dude's favorite Netflix show is just the search menu, which is fine for most people, right? People don't want to be paying attention to their president every day. But it's a big problem for right-wing pundits and politicians. Because you see, they can't depend on him to generate outrage. So they have to come up with some weird culture war tangent to rile their people up. Vaccine passports are Hitler. Mr. Potato Head is brainwashing children. Lil Nas X is behind you right now. So to keep up with all the latest skirmishes, we're introducing a brand new segment. Culture Wars, Moral Combat.
Culture Wars, Moral Combat.
Culture wars in America come out of almost anywhere. But one topic that's guaranteed to get people riled up is race. That's why I knew we were in for a good time when United Airlines announced that to bring some diversity to a field that is 94% white and male, it's going to be starting a pilot school where at least half of the students will be women and people of color. Yes, it's a perfectly sensible step in the right direction, which means it's just the perfect story for a culture warrior like Tucker Carlson to completely misrepresent.
United Airlines is mandating affirmative action quotas in its flight schools. And that's a big change for the country. If 100% of United Airlines pilots were black women, or Malaysian Muslims, or for that matter, white men from Alabama, not a single sane person would complain about it as long as the airplanes didn't crash. Safety is all that matters. There is only one standard that matters, and it is not race and it's not gender. It's competence. The way people look is totally irrelevant. How they perform is all you should care about. Once you forget that, airplanes tend to crash.
Okay, wait. Wait. I'm sorry. My man over here just said that if we have more black pilots, planes are just gonna start crashing? I mean, I hate to admit it, but he's right. You don't want black people flying planes because white people fly like this, but black people fly like this. I mean, everyone knows black people cannot fly planes. That's why Africa has no planes. Yeah, it's true. There's not a single plane on the entire continent. We use chickens to get around. And as for women, women pilots, we can't have those. They'll always be stopping to us for directions.
Hey, Mr. Seagull, can you give me directions to Las Vegas?
Yo, for real, people. I don't know that I need to tell you this, but Tucker Carlson is lying to you, all right? He's straight up lying to you. Because he's saying it like United is just making random black people into pilots. Yo, Jamal, it's your turn. But any pilot still has to go through all the training and pass all of the tests. Trust me, planes aren't going to start falling out of the sky because of black people. Right? They're going to start falling out of the sky because they were made by Boeing. And you know that Tucker's argument is full of shit, specifically because of where he took it next.
Imagine if we applied this same standard to other professions. How about professional sports? African American men account for roughly 6% of the American population, and yet about 75% of the players in the National Basketball League are black men. So what if, to remedy that lack of equity, the NBA announced tomorrow that going forward at least half of its players, 50%, had to be white, Asian, Hispanic, or female to better represent the fans in the stands? How would we respond to that?
Okay, that would actually be the most amazing thing of all time. I would love it if the NBA just forced random unqualified white people into the league. Are you kidding me? There is nothing I want to see more than some dude from Wall Street just getting savagely dunked on. BAM! That's for the housing crisis. Oh, this is not my life. Now, look, obviously the difference between what United is doing with pilots and what Tucker is talking about for the NBA is that white dudes do have every opportunity to become an NBA player. And I'm not just talking about American white dudes either. NBA scouts will hike their ass to a remote village in Slovenia just to bring home a 7-footer who can barely dribble. So yeah, f*** Tucker Carlson. I mean, that's nothing new. F*** Tucker is like the motto of a Tuesday. But you know who deserves a bit of a f*** you as well? United Airlines. Yeah, I said it. And this may not be a popular opinion, but they shouldn't have announced this in the first place. Right? If you want to do something good, just do it. But no, they want to get a pat on the back for shit that they should have been doing all along. Hey everyone, we've decided to help women and minorities deal with the barriers that we put up for them to be pilots. Because now you're feeding into the culture wars and you're undermining every new pilot that you're going to have. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Before this, if someone saw a black pilot on a plane, they would just assume correctly that that person went through the full training like every other pilot. But now, someone's going to get on a plane and be like, oh shit, it's a diversity hire. I saw this on Tucker. We're screwed. And then when there's turbulence, they're going to be like, oh no, oh, the black pilot must have put the hydraulics on. You know how they do this with their cars. They love this. And please don't get me wrong. Don't try and misquote. I'm not saying United Airlines shouldn't do this. I'm saying do it. Just don't do it for the PR, right? Don't go on social media with it just so you can get the likes. Otherwise, you're not helping your pilots. You're helping assholes like Tucker Carlson. F*** Tucker Carlson. But look, Tucker Carlson is just one guy on a TV channel. The other big culture war story right now is being pushed by people with actual political power. And it involves transgender people. Now wait, I know what you're thinking. Scary trans people? Isn't that a throwback from like 5 years ago? There was an outrage cycle around bathrooms. You remember that? They're gonna be kidnapping our children and wearing dresses while they poop. But even though none of that scary stuff actually happened, they've already kicked off an exciting new sequel.
It has become a new front in the culture war. Republicans across the country are pushing to ban transgender students, and often specifically trans girls and women, from competing in school sports.
It meant everything to me to be able to run, as a gender with which I identify, and to run as who I know I am.
I really just found who I am as a person, through sports.
More than 25 states across the country now considering anti-trans policies in school sports. 3 of those states have already signed them into law. Republicans pushing for the ban have been unable to point to any evidence of a problem.
Will you cite any examples where a young woman was denied a scholarship opportunity or a title here in Arizona because they were competing against a trans athlete who outperformed them?
I can't at this point.
So the answer was no?
At this point, no, but it's only a matter of time, in my opinion.
It's only a matter of time. You know what I love about Republicans? Is that when it comes to major issues with tons of evidence, like climate change, or coronavirus, or gun violence, they're like, let's wait until we see more evidence. But now there's an issue that barely even exists, and they're like, we don't got time for evidence. There's a plastic trophy at stake. Now, the one thing that people making these laws always point to is a single story from Connecticut a few years ago. That's not evidence that trans kids are stealing opportunities from everyone else. Aunt Becky's kids have taken away more slots on sports teams than trans kids. Honestly, I think conservatives are missing the entire point of youth sports in the first place. Because it's not really about the tiny minority of kids who will go on to get scholarships and perform at an elite level. It's not about that. It's about kids achieving their personal best, developing good habits and self-esteem, and learning to bully the chess team. And culture warriors say these laws about trans kids in sports are just about being fair to the other children. But the truth is, it's not stopping there.
In the state of Arkansas, the state just became the first to ban gender-affirming medical care for transgender kids, even with parental consent.
In Alabama, there's a bill that would make it a felony, punishable by up to 10 years in prison, for a doctor to prescribe gender-affirming medication for trans people under age 18.
A similar measure before North Carolina's General Assembly, as some lawmakers look to ban gender-confirming treatments for people under 21. The bill would prevent doctors from providing gender-confirming hormone treatment, puberty blockers, or surgery.
Senate Bill 514 would also compel state employees to notify parents if their child displays, quote, gender nonconformity.
No, man, you guys are playing. So North Carolina is going to make its school employees snitch on kids anytime that they don't, quote, conform to their gender? What does that even mean? Conforming to your gender? Like I caught up late with the other boys in school. So what? You're telling me that if I was in this system today, my gym teacher would be on the phone with my mom? Hello, Mrs. Noah. Yeah, no, we need to talk. The way Trevor is throwing a ball. No. More like Tracy Noah, Yeah, no, I have to snitch. Sorry about this. Guys, this is not just transphobic, it's also sexist and everything else, right? Because these Republicans they act like all they care about is the health and well-being of the kids. But it kind of gives the game away when they start adding on stuff that's basically just, and don't play with dolls or we'll tell your mom. And look, I'm not a doctor, right? As I found out when I tried to take out my cousin's appendix. R.I.P. Ngosnati. But these Republican lawmakers are also not doctors. And people who are doctors see things very differently.
Major medical organizations such as the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics oppose the bill.
With alarm and dismay, pediatricians have watched bills through state legislatures across the country. It threatens the health and well-being of transgender youth.
Young people, when they reach a certain age, if they have gender dysphoria, which means that they experience mental duress because they are transgender, might not want to go through puberty. And so their doctors might prescribe them puberty blockers so that they don't have to go through puberty and can make a decision when they're older about whether or not they want to medically transition.
Me turning into a man is just probably the most horrifying thing ever I could ever think of. In the farthest reaches of my mind is me not going on the hormone blockers anymore. The hormone blockers are like my lifesaver.
So look, medical professionals and trans people themselves say that treating kids early can be extremely beneficial, which makes you wonder, what's really behind all of these laws? If you ask me, it's hate. Yeah. A lot of these people are angry because trans people don't conform to a neat idea of gender. And as humans, we like things when they are neat and organized the way we want. That's why people got so mad when they said Pluto wasn't a planet. Well, if it's not a planet, then what is it? Well, actually, it's a rocky Kuiper Belt body that straddles the line between... I'll kill you! But as scared as some people might be by the idea of a trans person, it is nothing compared to how scared trans kids are dealing with problems that they don't always understand in a world that oftentimes does not accept them. So if these states are going to be passing laws to help anyone feel safer, it should be them.